What is the spiritual dream meaning of dead relatives?
What if that dream, you know the one that woke you up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m., the one where your dead grandmother was right there? What if that wasn't just your grief playing tricks on you? What if it was the most important message you will ever receive?
To really get this, we have to talk about a woman who is born into death itself. We have to talk about Mary Shelley.
Her life was just one loss after another. It was relentless. Her own mother died just 11 days after she was born. Then, at 18 years old, her first child died at, you guessed it, 11 days old. And by the time she was 24, she lost 2 more children and her husband to drown.
You see, she never heard her mother's voice, but she absolutely grew up with her ghost. She spent so much time at her mother's grave that she actually learned to read by tracing the letters carved into the headstone. That was her classroom. And she made a vow, right there, that she wouldn't let the dead stay silent. And then, after the soul-crushing loss of her baby, she had the dream. She wrote it down, every detail crystal clear. She dreamed that her dead baby wasn't dead at all, that she was rubbing the infant's cold little body by the fire, and suddenly the child came back to life. Warm, breathing, real. Of course, she woke up to an empty room and cold sheets, but the dream wouldn't let her go. And that dream became Frankenstein. And the dreams kept coming. Through every loss, she kept dreaming. She dreamt of her dead mother finally speaking to her. She saw her husband, Percy, walking towards her across sunlit water. These weren't nightmares. No, they felt different. They felt like dispatches from somewhere else. And this wasn't just some abstract idea for her. She literally kept Percy's calcified heart wrapped in silk until the day she died. Mary Shelley didn't just write about bringing the dead back to life. She lived inside that question. She knew, down in her bones, that the dead don't just disappear. They just change addresses.
Okay, so this isn't just a dusty footnote in a literature class. Her life is a blueprint. It's a map of what can happen when you stop dismissing these dreams as random noise.
Which brings me to you. When your dead father shows up in your dream, clear as day, why is your first instinct when you wake up to say, "Oh, it was just a dream"?
What if they're not gone? What if they're transmitting?
And what if your grief, all that pain and sadness, what if it's just static? Static that's blocking a signal you desperately need to receive. I mean it. Really think about this. What would change in your life, right now, today, if you started treating every single dream of a dead relative as an intentional message sent specifically for you?
And look, this isn't some fringe woo-woo idea. This is actually where ancient wisdom and modern science are starting to shake hands.
Because this idea is everywhere. It's universal. From indigenous Lakota ceremonies to the dream temples of ancient Egypt, from West African ancestor veneration to the Celtic belief in a thin veil between worlds, the message is always the same. They don't show up for no reason. Even modern psychology is starting to catch on. Relational psychology, for instance, says that the people we love don't really die inside us. They become internalized objects, basically a living version of them that stays with us and continues to shape our choices. And then you've got cognitive behavioral therapy, which basically proves that what you believe about death directly controls how you grieve. So, change the belief, and you can actually change your life.
So let's be clear, this isn't just some interesting thing to think about. This is an intervention.
If you're carrying a loss, the dreams you're having right now could be handing you the raw materials to rebuild your life. The process is simple, really. Step 1, acknowledge the dream. Just stop telling yourself it's random brain noise. It's not. Step 2, receive the message. Treat it like Mary Shelley did, as a deliberate dispatch. And Step 3, rebuild with it. Use it. Create something new from the ashes of that absence.
So, you see, the question isn't whether the dead are speaking. The question is, are you finally ready to listen?
Part 2. You know this dream. We all do. A dead relative appears and you wake up with this feeling in your gut that you cannot ignore what just happened. Well, these aren't just dreams. They are unopened messages. And right now, we're going to decode them. All right, let's get straight to it. We're going to start with the 2 most emotionally charged dreams you can possibly have. The ones that bring peace and the ones that scream a warning. Look at the difference here. It couldn't be more clear. On one hand, you get this pure form of visitation, this incredible feeling of comfort. On the other, you get an alarm bell you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. That warning dream, that's a precognitive signal. It means your subconscious has picked up on a real danger that your waking mind is just completely missing. So when you see them looking healthy, looking peaceful, that's their spirit and your own psyche teaming up to interrupt the grief loop you're stuck in. It's a direct message. Stop replaying their suffering. They're telling you, I'm okay, so that you can finally be okay too. So here's your job. This dream has literally handed you a tool. Don't just wake up and feel relieved for a few minutes. No, you have to use it. Write down exactly how they looked. And then you use that image like a weapon against the painful memories. You consciously, deliberately replace the image of their suffering with the image of their peace. That is how you heal. Okay, now for the opposite. If they come to you with a warning, listen to me. Do not write this off as just anxiety. Your subconscious is pulling out the big guns. It's using the ultimate authority figure in your life to scream something at you that your conscious mind is choosing to ignore. This is a massive red flag. And this isn't about trying to figure out some cryptic puzzle. The message is almost always brutally direct. It's pointing to a risk you are minimizing right now. A bad business partner, a toxic relationship, some terrible decision you're about to make. Your gut already knows. So the second you wake up, you need to grab a pen and answer these questions immediately. All right, now for the heavy stuff. Let's talk about the dreams that are digging up unresolved emotional accounts, the ones that are basically festering in your psyche. These are the debts that are coming due while you sleep. If you have this dream, wow, this is pure, uncut, unfinished business. Your mind is literally restaging the scene, all the helplessness, all the frustration, because it can't resolve what was never said. It's an endless loop of incompletion. And here's the key. The solution isn't trying to magically hear them in the next dream. The solution is for you to speak right now in the waking world. Write it in a letter. Say the words out loud to an empty room. Get it out. Once that emotional debt is paid, your psyche will finally let the scene go. This one is designed to shake you to your core. But listen, it is not them haunting you. It's your own conscience wearing their face. It's a signal that you've caused some harm that you haven't dealt with, and your mind is using the person whose judgment you fear the most to deliver that message. The only way through this is radical honesty. This dream is a catalyst. Don't you dare get paralyzed by guilt. You need to use the shock of this dream to take action. Make amends if you still can. At the very least, own your part fully. Okay, let's shift gears, because some of these dreams, they're not even about your past. They're about your future. You can think of them like a treasure map handed to you for what comes next. This dream is an inheritance, a direct transfer of energy. They're giving you a gift, a responsibility, maybe a hard truth that you are now finally ready to handle. And that object they hand you, that object is everything. You have to take that object seriously. What is it pointing to in your life? A key means it's time to open a door. Food means you need nourishment, spiritual, emotional, whatever. A weapon? You better prepare for a fight. Whatever it is, you need to act on it within 48 hours. Seriously. Don't let that momentum fade because the window is short. Now, you have to pay attention to this metaphor. The house is you. The architecture, the rooms, the structure, it's your identity. So when a dead relative shows up inside that house, they're not just visiting, they are pointing directly to the very foundations of who you are. The condition of that house tells you the whole story. Is it strong or is it falling apart? This dream is giving you an exact blueprint of the parts of your inherited identity, the beliefs, the patterns, the fears they pass down to you that need a serious renovation right now. Let's be perfectly clear about something. Grief is not a feeling. It's not a single event you get over. Grief is a job. It's work. And these dreams you're having, they are a mandatory part of that work. Your mind remembers dates, even when you don't. Your body keeps the score. So when those dreams intensify around the anniversary of a death, that's not a setback. That's a biological, psychological signal that it is time to do the annual work of integration. Pay attention to it. This is one of the most painful, but also one of the most healing dreams possible. It completes the developmental story that death cut short. It shows you the life that was supposed to be. And you need to know this is actually a clinically validated part of the grieving process. You have to honor it. Let your psyche give you the gift that reality refused to. Finally, we have to talk about the dream that isn't about someone you ever knew, but about someone who knows you, an ancestor. When this happens, you need to understand that this is one of the most spiritually significant dreams you can possibly have. It is a direct call from your lineage to wake up, to become aware of its gifts, its traumas, and all the invisible patterns that are running your life without your permission. This dream is your mission, should you choose to accept it. It is a command to start digging, find the family stories, uncover the secrets, understand what your ancestors went through. Look, this isn't about getting trapped in the past. This is about understanding the past so you can finally break free from it. So the ultimate point here is this. These messages are active. They are ongoing. They are absolutely vital to how you live your life right now. They aren't just old memories floating around. They are your instructions for living. The only question left is, are you ready to listen? Part 3. You know, most people will read a quote like this, they'll nod, feel a little something, and then they'll do absolutely nothing. Within 48 hours, they're right back to ignoring their dreams. So, right here, right now, this is a direct challenge to you. Don't be most people. Because reading about this work and actually doing it, they're two completely different worlds. What's coming next are concrete practices, tools you can start using today, not someday, today, because you do not have time to waste. Let's get to work. Okay, first up, we have a practice for the writers, the thinkers, the journalers, yeah, even the overthinkers. This one's for the woman who makes sense of her life through language. And this is so critical to understand. The dream you can't even remember, it's still in there, working on you. Those messages you haven't decoded are shaping the decisions you think you're making freely. Your forgotten dreams are running the show. Look, this is not a passive exercise. You are conducting a full-on forensic investigation of your own grief. And at the end of 30 days, you're gonna have actionable data. Real, hard evidence. You'll see the recurring emotions, the parts of your life that keep showing up, all the things being left unfinished. Pick up the damn pen. All right, our next tool. This is for the estranged daughter, for the one who never said enough, or maybe the one who said way too much. This is for anyone carrying around unresolved history. You have to get this. This isn't about the past. It's not staying in the past. It is actively costing you, right now, in the relationships you have with living people. It has already cost you enough. Listen, you're not trying to contact the dead here. You are trying to complete a conversation that was cut short so your mind can finally stop replaying it every single night. I'm telling you, this single practice has ended recurring nightmares for people. It'll cost you 1 hour. Do it this week. Now, for the woman who lights the candles, who prays, who really trusts her gut, this next practice is about creating a conscious, living relationship with your lineage. And that just nails it, doesn't it? You were given a lineage. Maybe it was beautiful, maybe it was brutal, but it's yours. And ignoring it, that doesn't make it go away. It just gives it unconscious power over your life. This is about metabolizing your grief, not just being trapped by it. By giving the dead a designated place and time, you're basically giving your psyche a container to process what it would otherwise throw at you in the chaos of a nightmare. Women who do this say their dreams shift from being disturbing to being actually instructive. All right, for my problem solvers, my skeptics, the women who need tools that are backed by evidence, there is absolutely a practice for you. This one is based on a cognitive behavioral therapy technique called imagery rescripting. Let's break it down logically. The beliefs you think you hold about your grief are actually limiting your ability to heal because they're not lined up with your emotional reality. This practice, it bridges that gap. So, how this works is not by pretending the loss wasn't real. It works by giving your nervous system a completed story to work with instead of one that was cut off. You are literally giving your brain the ending it needs so it can stop looping. Now let's build on that. This next one, this is for the cycle breaker, for the woman in therapy, for the mother who refuses, absolutely refuses, to hand down the pain that she inherited. And there it is, the choice. That pattern was handed to you, no doubt. But whether it gets handed forward from here, that is entirely up to you. The cycle breaks with you, or it doesn't break at all. This is not about genealogy. It's a psychological audit, and I want you to look specifically at the women. Where was their grief buried? Where was it silenced? Then you ask the most important question there is. What stops with me? This is how a lineage changes course. And finally, we have a practice for the woman who is completely undone by certain dates every single year. For the woman who dreads looking at the calendar. This is the key insight right here. That irritability, that exhaustion, that sudden wave of sadness, it is not random. You are not just having a bad week. You are having an anniversary, and your body remembers, even if your conscious mind forgot to check the date. The whole goal here is to create a container, because when you do that, those days stop being dreaded ambushes, and they become, well, they become annual homecomings. The grief is still there, of course, but it has a place, and a container changes everything. See, this work isn't about being morbid. Mary Shelley, as a child, decided that absence was not going to be the final answer for her. She stayed in conversation with her dead, and her genius was born right out of it. This work is generative. It creates. So, when you boil it all down, it comes to this choice right here on the screen. A life haunted, ruled by patterns you don't even understand. Or a life informed, where you take that inheritance and you transform it into wisdom. It's the difference between absence being the final word and love being the final truth. You have access to the same dream space where the dead come to speak. They've done their part, they have finished what they came to say. The only question left is, will you do yours?